About a year ago, I decided I'd build an apocalypse rig. And my criteria for that were mechanically injected diesel, no computers, manual transmission, four-wheel drive, and I wanted it to have solar system and basically be able to self-sustain off-grid. So I built one. And this is what I came up with. And I think it turned out pretty cool. This RV spent the first 30 years of its life as a two-wheel drive Tioga Aero, powered by a small block Chevy 350 with a 4L80E. It was pretty gutless. Now, it's powered by a 12-valve Cummins and an NV4500 5-speed. The inside of the RV, it turned out better than I expected. When I was looking for the RV, I made sure I had one that with a floor plan that I liked. I didn't want to completely renovate the RV, although I did make quite a few changes to it. The flooring is now just a industrial rubber flooring, so it's easy to clean out and you don't have to worry about damaging it with dirty or rocks or anything like that. I blacked out all the gold trim. I replaced it all and replaced the handles with black ones. The water heater is now a tankless water heater, and I moved it closer to where all the utilities are. It used to be really far away. It didn't make much sense. The bed is on the ground floor, and I have a projector in with a screen that makes a divider between the kitchen and the bed area. The overhead area, I converted that to storage, and I put in gym flooring, so it's real soft. Stuff doesn't slide around or rattle on it. And I put in a couple safes as well. The AC unit, that runs off solar and battery, so there's no requirement to plug in. On an overcast day, you'll lose about 10% battery a day, I've found. On a sunny day, it stays about even. All the electronics switch automatically, so there's nothing you have to do there. If you want it plugged into shore power or to a generator, all you gotta do is plug it in. It only takes a 15 amp cord to run this RV and charge the batteries at the same time. The microwave, this seems kind of petty, but the clock always stays set, no matter what. It's pretty nice. And it can be running on shore power, and you can unplug the thing mid-microwaving and it doesn't even hiccup. It switches that fast. It's pretty cool. The best part about this thing, though, is that there's no slides, so you don't have to worry about the slide not sliding out or sliding in, or it being in the way of the fridge or the bathroom while you're driving down the highway. The awning is power. You just flip a switch and it goes out, and flip the switch the other way, it goes back in. The best part about the awning, though, is that the arms are at about 7 feet. So unless you're a NBA basketball player, you don't have to worry about clotheslining yourself with the awning arms. Now I'll take a look under the hood so you can see the 12 valve in it. It's a rotary pump 12 valve. The P-pumps are a little harder to fit in these vans. It's possible. I've done it before, and it's not worth the sacrifices, honestly. And I vowed not to do it again. It occupies too much space in the driver's footwell area, and you have to do a lot of fab work. So this has been tuned up. It's 100 horse injectors and rebuilt injection pump. It's fleece head and studded top and bottom. It has a vacuum pump delete, so it's running the commercial power steering pump and the Freightliner power steering reservoir that's also a filter. The intercooler system is a water over air. It keeps its own, so that's the radiator's reservoir, and then this is the intercooler's reservoir. It's completely separate cooling systems, and we'll get into more of that a little later. The exhaust on the RV is stainless steel. It is 4-inch the entire way, even the header pipe coming down off the turbo. There's no adapter. The outlet of the turbo is also 4-inch. Let's see if we can see it there. This is the intake. The air filter is underneath here. This is a low water drain, lone point water drain. It's rubber. It seals under vacuum, but it'll allow water out while there's no vacuum. Custom fabricated front bumper, and the grill is the brush guard. One of the most common questions I get is, what is this? And where'd you get it? That material is called the ACM. It's aluminum composite material. It's a really good material. It's aluminum on either side, and then it is a composite in the center, like a sandwich. If you want more information on this stuff, it's in episode 3, which is linked down in the description below. You can buy this from Central Plastics online, or you can get it from your local sign shop, which is what I did. So while I was reskinning this van, it turned out there was quite a bit of water damage up front. Just a lot of complex joints that just failed over time. So I decided to reshape it. Since I didn't need it as a sleeper anymore, I decided to reshape it and make it a storage compartment and a place for Biff with a little porthole window he can look out of. As I was putting this RV together, I would always buy extras of wearable parts, and that's what's in all these ammo cans. It's just a bunch of parts so that we can fix this thing in an emergency or on the side of the road or wherever we're at. And this is the intercooler system. So that's water radiators. It's a water over air system. So there's positive pressure underneath the van as you're driving, and then these create negative pressure. So the air is naturally going to be going through them, but there is still fans on the opposite side and a thermal switch. So if those radiators do start getting hot, which they do, especially when you're pulling a hill, they will kick on and increase the airflow going through the radiators. The AC outlets, you can see, are functioning. It's a GFI. It is hooked to the inverter on the inside of the van, so that will work whether it's plugged into shore power or not. I just ran the entire No Balls car show off of that outlet. DJ equipment, cashier stations, and so on. And we're good. Didn't have any issues. I had plenty of battery by the end of the day, and I had the AC running all day. For the wheels and tires, I did choose these Black Rhino wheels, which are amazingly tough wheels. And these Pro Comp tires, which are a load index 131, which is 4,300 pounds in a single configuration, which is how I'm getting away with running singles on this thing. And I have a different offset front and rear. The fronts are inset, the rears are outset. The spare tire underneath, which is full size and the same matching tire, that is essentially a front, but the front will fit the rear. It just doesn't look as cool. And I know what you're all thinking. What'd you do for an e-brake? So we're running an e-stop. And unfortunately, that's a future project for the channel. It doesn't pull hard enough. It holds it from rolling, well, even on this grade, which is pointing downhill a little bit. But that's about it. I'm relying on the engine for safety, and I don't want to rely on that. So we need to upgrade that e-stop. Now the e-stop is fine, we just need it to pull a little harder. And we can do that by adding a lever and increase its torque. We're only using about 1 inch of its 3 inches of cycle. So we can very easily double the pulling power of that just doing a 2-to-1 arm. And that's what we're gonna do. So that'll be coming up on the channel here soon. The rear bumper on it was a fairly simple project, and it would have been even more simple if I had a brake that was 8 foot. But I didn't, so I had to bend this diamond plate the hard way. The first step is a doozy, and you might want to bring a step stool along, or gymnastics. There's a lot of overhang, and something I didn't point out, I actually extended the wheelbase of this RV, so I have less overhang now, believe it or not. Since loading an RV is somewhat irregular from side to side, you fill it with water, it all is on one side, you have a bunch of black water and gray water, it's all on the other side. So I have individually adjustable from in the cabin airbags. That way I can somewhat compensate for the additional weight on one side or the other, keeping the van level while driving down the road. It takes about 2 seconds to get ready to go. So here, let me show you what you got to do. Push close, then it'll close. Fold up the stairs, shut the door, and then drive it.